James Gunn's Superman might just be elite. I mean, straight up, hands down, it's one of, if not the best, Superman adaptations we have seen on the live screen. And, oh my goodness, when I say that I honestly believe that this Superman movie hit every single point that I really wanted it to hit, I wasn't kidding. But there's one character that I was like, if you hit this character properly and you do it properly, I will be the happiest person alive. Because at the end of the day, Lex Luthor hates everything about Superman. He hates the way that he walks. He hates the way that he talks. He hates the way that he dresses. He hates everything. He hates every little tiny bit about the alien from Krypton. And this Lex Luthor, I mean, he might just be the biggest hater in the DCU. Now, with that said, hey, we got some big haters, I'm sure, coming up. I wouldn't say very soon, but maybe in the next, 5 to 10 years, I'm sure we got some pretty crazy haters in terms of villains, aka Eobard Thawne, aka Reverse Flash. And it's not what we're here to talk about. We're really here to talk about, for now, why Lex Luthor is really the biggest hater in the DCU. And we'll be talking about the Superman movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, there will be spoilers. There will be things that I want to talk about and will talk about. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe watch the movie first and then come back to this video and check me out, watch this video. But with that said, I want to talk about the first thing, because the first thing we see from Lex is him with a group of people in like a observatory like room. It's his Lex Corp, right? But it's like an observatory like room, and he's watching someone destroy parts of Metropolis and endangering people to basically draw out Superman. A good start, to say the least, especially from his arsenal of hatred that he has, because we then proceed to watch this person, this being, whatever this guy is, aka eventually we find out who he is, which is Ultraman. We watch Ultraman beating the piss out of Superman with various moves that Lex is basically coming up with, and he's able to, for the most part, kind of add sequences and find weaknesses of Superman's fighting style, and he's literally implementing it into this, and it's beautiful. I mean, he's literally talking 1A, X2, this, that, and he's saying all of these different things, different strikes, different abilities, different ways to attack Superman, and these things are making a massive difference, and it kind of just shows, right? It shows that Lex is really locked in terms of taking down Superman. And when I say various amounts of versions of attack plans, I mean various, because this shows how obsessed he is, how obsessed and insane he is in terms of beating the absolute hell out of Superman. And the most devious, the most diabolical move of them all has to be 2X, where Superman gets smacked where the sun don't shine, and which, by the way, we will be referencing that a little bit later, because that's not where we're at right now. That's a little bit later in the movie, but that is one of the most devious and diabolical ways and moves that Lex has in the arsenal of the Ultraman himself. But that is, like I said, later in the fight. During the first fight, though, we see that Ultraman is basically being used as Lex's puppet, and while all that fight is basically happening, and while that first fight with Ultraman is happening, Lex is actually scouting out where the Fortress of Solitude is, and not only looking for info to basically show that Superman is basically a piece of garbage, but the most horrible thing you could do is steal his dog. That's what he's going to end up doing. That is downright hater, if I do say so myself. But while all this is happening, Lex would give the order to basically send out a growing monster to stall Superman, right? These are things that happen after, obviously, the Ultraman fight, and this is just another thing that Lex is setting up in beautiful fashion, by the way. I mean, if I'm a supervillain, hey, Lex is up there with the best. I mean, I would definitely idolize Lex as one of those supervillains. And he sends out a growing monster to basically stall out Superman. His whole goal here is to get information, to figure out what the hell's going on with this fortress of basically solitude. He wants to learn and figure out everything here. And that's what he does, right? He finds the message of his parents. He decrypts it fully. He captures crypto, all of those things. And eventually it shows, during this time actually, they decrypt it, and it shows that Superman actually wasn't here just to be a savior, not to just help the people save them and make sure they're safe. No. He was sent here to rule over Earth, have as many wives as possible, basically be this bad person, right? In the eyes of the people, right? Nobody wants a tyrant, and that's kind of what this message was saying, and it would destroy the credibility of Superman. Just another thing that the biggest hater in the DCU had to do, obviously leading him to putting Superman in a spot where he had no way of finding Krypto, literally no way of figuring out where he was. So what did he have to do? He literally got forced by Lex Luthor to turn himself in, and this makes things a lot worse, because immediately he would be taken to this kind of pocket-like dimension or pocket-like universe. And speaking of hating, Lex has countless of these mind-controlled monkeys constantly hating on Superman on social media. And that right there, that should show you the hatred this boy has on every single level you could possibly imagine. Honestly, I'm surprised he wasn't spending 8 hours a day doing it himself. Like, I bet early on he was doing it himself. He probably was like, you know what? This is worth it. 8 hours a day, 15 different accounts. I'm just going to be spamming. I'm going to make sure all of them have, all verified. And I'm just going to be absolutely shitting on Superman for 8 hours a day. And then, the rest of the time, I either sleep a little bit or I just, go about my day trying to set up my plan to absolutely eliminate Superman as well, which is so crazy to think about. But Lex Luthor continues to kind of up the ante of like how insane he is in terms of hating, how diabolical he is in terms of hating on Superman. And oh my goodness, he really is doing some absolute madness. But that's not it. Like I said a million times, that is not going to be it. And that's what I loved so much about this movie. Every time I was like, you know what? I think he might be at peak hater right now. It gets worse. It gets worse every turn you look. For starters, he was using an alien that could literally turn himself into kryptonite to keep Superman on the ground, basically feeling like he was going to die. And on top of that, he's out here interrogating him while he's just clinging on to life, while kryptonite is stripping him of his life and his breath every 2 seconds. And he's interrogating him. And you know how he's interrogating him? Oh yeah, you know that guy in the beginning of the movie, or like earlier in the movie after he fought Ultraman, that helped him up and said, you know what, Superman, it's okay, you always save us, let me help you, right? The guy that gave him falafel that one time, yeah, that guy was being watched by Lex Luthor. They took him, put him in a chair, put a bag over his head, tied him up, and said, hey, you're going to tell me everything you know, Superman, or I'm going to X-nay Russian roulette this guy out of existence. And yeah, every time I think, the hating can't get any worse, it gets worse. And I absolutely freaking love it, because this is what Lex Luthor is, a hater. Lex Luthor hates Superman. Now, in his head, is there reasons for it? Is it reasonable for Lex Luthor? Does he believe that he's bringing down humanity, making them basically like reliant on him? Yes, in his mind, these are all the things he believes, and he'll do anything to get that upper hand. He yearns for that upper hand, but it's crazy because he basically puts a gun to this guy, this random dude that gave Superman food one time, and he just shows Superman flat out that he yearns to get that upper hand, and he's going to make sure he always maintains that upper hand. And he asks him a bunch of questions, right? And if there's a question that he asks and he don't like the answer, he pulls the trigger. And one time he asks another one, and this guy is sitting on the chair, this guy that barely knows Superman but knows he's a good person, and he's yelling at him saying, don't worry, Superman, I don't have a family, I don't have anything, don't tell him anything, don't tell him nothing, I'm not worth it. But Superman, this is the real Superman, by the way, which maybe we'll do a video later on about why I love this version so much, because he not only is out there, saving squirrels and stuff like that, he's going to cry over this man's death. He's going to bawl over his death because he's watching this happen, even though this man has basically told him, I will sacrifice myself for you because that's how great of a hero you are. Superman still is like, no, I don't want you to. I don't want you to have to. I'm mad at myself that I allowed you to get put in that scenario. And that is what Superman truly is. And this just adds on to the hatred that Lex Luthor really gives, because holy damn. I mean, when the guy clatters off the ground and Superman starts crying, Lex doesn't even think about it. He doesn't even bat an eye at the fact that he just ended somebody. He literally is like, well, that went a lot quicker than I thought. Like, dude, this is crazy. Lex didn't hesitate. He doesn't hesitate to sacrifice people. As long as he gets to Superman in any possible way, that is what he's going to do. He doesn't care. But before you know it, in the words of Superman, or, the Superman truly, the words coming from Superman literally, would shine through, and a rescue mission would have gone, somewhat right, and it would ensue, and Superman, Krypto, and many others would escape from that place, that kind of pocket universe eventually, leading to a choice needing to be made by Superman, which I believe this is such an interesting thing as well, because he had a choice to be made. Do you save Metropolis from getting split in half, and possibly the entire world getting split in half because of some sort of black hole? Or do you go stop the war with people chanting your name, wanting the savior once again? But luckily enough, there's other heroes here, other heroes that can help out. People like Guy Gardner, which, by the way, might just be my favorite character in the show, or in the movie, excuse me. I mean, Lex Luthor and Guy Gardner, it's pretty close for me. It's pretty close. I love this version of Green Lantern. I think they did a great job with him. But still, I mean, luckily enough, the Justice Gang exists, so they're able to kind of like save people during the war, while Superman handles things in Metropolis, leading to Superman clashing with the Engineer and Ultraman, obviously, once again, where Lex continues his masterclass of fight tactics, but sometimes planning for everything still isn't enough, leading to Superman actually getting the upper hand, which I always found it, I found it to be pretty interesting. Watching the movie, I was like, this is a pretty interesting thing. I mean, Lex had contingency after contingency, and they were literally kind of filling his lungs with nanobots, and he just decides, you know what? You don't know how strong I really am. Flies up straight into the sky and then comes barreling straight down into the ground, knowing that he's the only one that could really survive this to the degree that, he needs to. And he gets himself out of, harm's way to a certain extent. And the fighting tactics that were, working pretty damn well for Lex weren't actually, or kind of, failed just that little bit, allowing Superman to get just enough of an upper hand. But then before you know it, guess who he sees? He sees Ultraman for who he really is, and this just solidifies Lex's obsession. Because who's Ultraman? Well, spoiler alert, obviously I already said that before, but spoiler alert, it's a clone of Superman. And that right there just, solidifies you as the craziest hater ever, and also someone who is massively obsessed with the Man of Steel, or, Superman, of course. And while this is all happening, the entire city is getting ripped in half. For what? Because Lex wanted to be the king? No, not at all. Lex Luthor gave Bravia everything they needed, basically for free, not because he wanted to be a king, not because he wanted control, because he wanted an excuse to kill Superman. Lex takes the phrase truly of by any means necessary to another level. He doesn't care how many people he sacrifices. He doesn't care how many people he's sending to jail. He doesn't care what happens to anybody. He doesn't care if the world itself gets nuked into pieces. He'll let a black hole consume so much of it, just so that he could end Superman for good. Talk about the biggest hater in the DCU. Lex Luthor was done beautifully. Chef's kiss. Beautifully. And I love the character so much. And I can't even say that I love to hate him, because I've been waiting for a Lex Luthor like this. And when we got him, I was smiling ear to ear, grinning crazy when Lex was just absolutely hating. I'm not saying I don't like Superman. Like, I love Superman. This version of Superman's awesome. But seeing a true version of Lex Luthor talking his shit, you know, going crazy, doing all of these horrible, horrific things in a weird way, I was watching and I was thinking, we finally did it, boys. We finally got one. Lex Luthor, the biggest hater, he's back. The biggest menace, he's back. But you know what? He might not be the biggest hater in the DCU. At least for now he is. But eventually he might not be. Because another video that I'm definitely going to talk about is definitely going to be involving the Reverse Flash. Because I can't wait. If Lex Luthor is hating like this, I can't wait to see how Eobard Thawne is hating when we have to deal with, I don't care which version of the Flash, but any Reverse Flash versus the Flash, I will love to see, and it's going to feed generations. I guarantee you that. If they do Lex Luthor right, they definitely will do Reverse Flash right. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say about Lex Luthor being the biggest hater in the DCU. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say overall about the video, about the Superman movie, stuff like that. I know I'm a little late, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, YouTube believes you'll enjoy this one, so might as well go check it out.